Joining us today is Theo Botoulas, the CEO, and Schutte, the CFO of Neo Energy Metals. Thank you both for joining us today. How are you?
Fine, thanks, and how are you? Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yep, thank you so much.
It's good to be speaking. You've had news, of course, out recently. You've secured up to £8 million from a UK-based investor. You relisted onto the stock exchange there, and I guess the gates are open now. So just talk us through what's been happening in the lead up to advancing this placement and relisting of the shares.
Of course, we were suspended for a long time. The reason being that our accounts hadn't been lodged. We rectified that. The share price was suspended, and that suspension in trade was lifted in early December on publication of our accounts. And ever since then, we've been trading some decent volumes on the London Stock Exchange. And at that point, we needed some capital to advance the business, move the business forward. We went out on a capital raising exercise, and we managed to raise capital at a premium to the market and the suspension price of the share. And that money was raised, as you correctly say, from a private London investor. It's a private equity fund. Due to the confidentiality, we can't disclose the name of the private equity fund, but it is a London-based private equity fund who is quite a large player in London, and it also has other mining investments.
Thank you. Good morning. So the investment was basically from the private investor, £1.5 million. Then there was through another market, capital markets, we raised another £1 million. So that was the £2.5 million that actually came into the business in for cash. That's the first part. We've also converted some old funds, old loans, director loans, who kept the business going for the last 12, 18 months with hard cash. We converted that also into shares, because otherwise we would have had to raise £1 million more. So it was the same. So we were fortunate enough that the previous directors or current directors and shareholders were happy to accept shares for the hard cash that they put into the business. And I think, just to come back to your point about the £8 million that we've raised, what we've actually raised there is the private investor actually committed £8 million. £1.5 million we've drawn down. The other £6.5 million is for future cash capital raising. If there's there will be future capital raising. They have the opportunity to participate in a future capital raise at a 10-day VWAP 10% discount. So I think that our RNS was maybe a bit misleading on that, but it shows that we have an investor that actually believes in the projects and want to invest with us going forward.
Well, that is very good, isn't it, that you've got a private equity fund interested in the projects that you have. Of course, uranium being the main commodity there. So they're not committed to that 8 million, but it's available as a first right of refusal. So if they go ahead with it and they like what's happening, it's fair to say you're sort of funded for everything you want to do.
Yeah, I think if we'd raised the entire £8 million at the price that we raised it at, the effect would have been more dilutive to other shareholders.
Yes.
So we raised just what we required to get the company started. The private equity fund that we engaged, I think are pretty committed to the project. We have other people that are also interested. So, of course, it's all got to do with the cost of capital. At what price do you raise? When do you raise? The money that we raised is enough for our immediate requirements. It will carry us for the next 6 months, maybe a bit more. And that, if you'd seen our original presentation, we need to do some work. We need to do some implementation assessments down in the Free State. And we need to just get some of our paperwork in order. At this point in time, most of the money will go towards administration and getting our Section 11 in the Free State across the line, getting our prospecting right converted to a mining right down in the Northern Cape at the Henkrys project. And that cash that we've raised was just enough for the time being. We could have raised more, but the effect would have been more dilutive. So we like to raise as we add value to the company.
Absolutely. That's a fantastic, that's the best way to do it, isn't it? Just out of interest, before we move on to talk about the project, the private equity firm, although you can't disclose too much information, can you say if they were interested in the uranium play or the gold credits? What was it that sort of was attracting them, do you think?
Well, I think at this point in time, if you go and look at the supply-demand numbers for uranium, demand is going to far outstrip supply in the coming decade. So uranium is definitely a commodity that people would like to invest in. What makes it particularly exciting is that in the Free State area, and the Free State gold mining area is part of the Witwatersrand Basin. Witwatersrand Basin is famous. It's possibly the greatest ore body for gold and uranium and other metals that come with it present on Earth. I mean, it's just massive. And I think just the sheer scale and size of this project and its ability to deliver consistently over time are what the attraction is for investors like the private equity fund in London. The other attraction is that there's sunk capital to replace the capital down at Beatrix 4 shaft. That would take around about a considerable amount of money, a couple of $100 million. And also the time taken. So if somebody would like to implement a project like Beatrix 4 from scratch, it would probably take $500 million in 7 years to get it into production, where we have the infrastructure, we have the shafts, we have the processing plants, we have the tenure. That's very important. We have the licenses, which we are transferring into our name. That's part of the money that we've just raised will be going towards that objective, getting that done, and getting it and getting the mine operational. Of course, we've also got a project down in the Northern Cape near a place called Springbok, which is also a uranium play. That's pure uranium. There is no gold present there. There are the metals in the formation, but principally we're looking at the uranium. And in order to get that project up, we have applied and converted what we called an exploration license into a mining right. So in other words, we're taking it to the next step where we'd actually like to mine it and produce uranium from it. So that initial capital that we just raised is enough to get the work done, to set the foundation to advance it.
Okay, excellent. I wonder if you can just set out maybe the timeline of events, let's say. This, of course, the fundraising here and the lifting of suspension unlocks quite a few things. The work program, as you mentioned there's a few things you're going to be doing. And of course, you can now complete the actual acquisition, which you've said will be Q1. So, I mean, in terms of timelines, sort of key milestones for let's say for the first quarter, what are we looking at?
Yeah, I would say, key timelines for the first quarter is basically for us to get access to the site. The Section 11 process that we were hoping for that will take place in the first quarter, it seems that there's going to be a bit of a delay on that, might be to the latter part of the year, but it's not going to hold back the process or the program that we wanted to follow, with the Botoulas mine. The first 9 months, we would have done all our homework, the site readiness, and to determine what capital is required to get the site ready for mining. So instead of getting the Section 11, because there's quite a bit of work still left on that, but we are in discussions with Sibanye to get access to the site so that we can continue with our work, so that we still be in production in the latter part of 2027. So for this year, I would imagine is that access to site, determine maybe we might need to raise a bit of capital just to help us, with all the homework and the site readiness, that work that we need to do with consultants, so that we can go back to the market and report to the market, what is the new mine plan? Remember, the old mine plan is the Sibanye mine plan, and we need to get our own mine plan. And then by the end of the year, we will back to the market, say this is the new mine plan, and this is how we start our BISA. So that is the one part, although Section 11 is later, but it's not going to influence the total time frame of the project. And then the other one on the Henkries project, which is just north of Springbok, is that we are in the process of the conversion of the exploration right to a mining right. All the documents has to be submitted by this Friday, which we are on time with. And then the conversion time will take about 12 months, which is in line with all our plans. So hopefully by the end of the year, we will have the mining right in place. And then we can finalize the mine startup plan for Henkries. So if you sit back and you say, what is new all about, is to have BISA mine operational in the latter part of 2027, and the new and the Henkries uranium mine operational in the latter part of 2028.
Okay, so I think essentially what David is saying is anything under our direct control, as I've pointed out previously, there are certain things that are under our direct control where we need to provide documents, where we need to provide input to documents, and we need to lodge documents with the minerals authorities in South Africa. We do that conscientiously. We've got people that do that we've known for a long time that work with us. As the vet says, we actively do engage with Sibanye-Stillwater. We engage with our BE partner, Black Economic Empowerment Partner, on the BISA 4 project, which is the SSC group. We get these things done. The timelines, unfortunately, are not directly under our control. Once we lodge the paper, we're much in the hands of the Department of Minerals and Energy. So everything that we can do, we have done, and we continue to do. So that's essentially where we are. I think the vet's right. The objective is my frustration as a mining engineer. I mine gold and uranium and I sell it. Okay, at this point where the uranium prices are and the gold prices are, you must remember we've got our preliminary production profile is 800,000 pounds of uranium a year and 52,000 ounces of gold. Now, if you just go and times that by the current spot prices, you'll find out what the revenue stream should be, and that's very frustrating. Like I said, the plant's there, the equipment's there, the shafts are there. All the infrastructure set down at the Henkries mine. You've got an open cast mining environment, free dig, no drill and blast. Nothing is easy, but it's certainly it's these are big projects, but they're not difficult projects. They just have to be planned in a systematic manner to get from point A to point B, and that's what we're busy doing.
Maybe just to add on to Theo's point is that the BISA steady state production is the 800,000 pounds of uranium and 52 ounces of gold. If we add a Henkries to that, Henkries will add another 500,000 to 600,000 pounds. So ultimately, if you look at new, it would be a 1.4 to 1.5 million pound producer of uranium and an odd 50,000 ounces of gold a year. And just to put it in perspective, on the uranium side, the global uranium supply currently is 75 million, and we will supply into that 1.5. But the requirement is going up from 75 to 150 million pounds. So that's why the uranium price, will have to move upwards, and we've seen that, in the last 6 months as well.
You must also remember that when you state your reserves and your resources, I think as per the JORC codes or the SAMREC codes, you're using a set price, which is a grade cutoff. And that's where the competent persons, they state the resources. Okay, right now, I think our reserve resource statements were stated in 2016 at significantly different metals prices. So one of the things we'll probably do in the future is restate our ore reserves at today's prices and see what we get. I think it will be quite an interesting exercise.
Absolutely, and it sounds like you want to get things going fairly rapidly. As you say, you feel the frustration there of wanting to be in
Yes.
production. You say you're going to visit the site later in January, so I guess that's going to be in the next week or so, and then you can hopefully communicate those plans to the market.
Yeah, look, I mean, we're working, so you can know how we work. We work in a very systematic, focused manner, one step at a time. We plan what we're going to do, and once we reach the objective, we take the next step. You can, in a company this size, it's quite a lot of data. We reverted back to the original documents that we received. They're in a huge database. We're working from our sound foundation, which is our documents, our databases, and we're progressing things from there. We've assembled quite a large team, or not large, but quite a focused team of geologists, process engineers, security officials, financial people, legal people. We've appointed a head of risk and legal that looks after our documents. Got quite a lot of projects, quite a lot of documents, so yes, we're getting good structure into the company, nice controls, very focused people. Everybody knows exactly what they have to do and what they have to produce, and I think we will get to where we want to be, and that is to produce gold and uranium according to our planned timeline.
Excellent. Good. Well, Theo, Botoulas and Schutte, the management team at New Time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.